So do most of the people that you do that work with, do you, I mean, and obviously nothing is a guarantee, but do you get a great deal of resolution? Do you get a great deal of people coming back to you and saying, hey, this worked and I feel so much better, giving you that feedback that things have shifted?
Yeah, feedback is super important and super great. So a lot of times what people will say is that there is just this overall lack of activity, or that things feel better. But there are times, and I think it really depends on like where the client lives, because sometimes there are things that we can't fix. Like a vortex, for example, is a naturally occurring thing in the planet that you cannot just change, right? But you can change the vibration of it, but you can't get rid of it. So if somebody lives in this kind of area where it's just really super high activity, you can teach someone how to keep their main space clear, but there's still going to be this like huge potential for more activity later on. So, I mean, that's
it depends. It depends on the situation, obviously. Right.
Right. So, so after removal, we usually check in with the client and say, how are you feeling? Has anything else happened? Whatever. And some people will say, I slept like a baby. Everything feels much lighter. And then we just kind of go from there. It takes time to see the results.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it'll work for maybe 3 or 4 days, and then something happens and the client will call back and they'll be like, they came back or something happened and you have to come back. Please help again. There was a particular case where 3 of us, for example, were on this case, and it took multiple times going back to continue to remove and cleanse this place. The more of that there is, the harder it is to fully eradicate everything. So it's not a foolproof thing, I guess. I mean, we can help and we can alleviate and we can remove stuff. But that's why we put the power back into the client's hands by giving them the tools and saying, this is what you can do to protect yourself. And hopefully then we don't have to come back at all. That's the goal.
And don't you find, though, that you do run into cases where there's individuals who are claiming activity, but there really isn't any? It's just their fear. It's just, or they're generating, I don't want to call it a spirit or entity or anything else, but whatever's happening is a result of them, right?
Right. That's kind of the attention people that I'm talking about. So there have been times where we've had hysterical people and we're like, okay, calm down. We're going to come in, we're going to take a look. We're going to see, what we can find. And if we can remove it, we get there and crickets. Interesting. So we try not to discredit the client right away. We'll just say, well, we showed up. We didn't see anything in particular that needed removal. Maybe we'll throw out some good vibes and raise the energy that way. And that is a protective measure anyways. So when you raise the vibrations, if something were to try to come back, it probably won't want to anymore. But it's like, if we don't see anything, we're not going to tell anybody that we saw something, and we're not going to say that we removed it. And we're going to be like, well, we didn't find anything. So,
right.
Better luck next time kind of thing. And so if we continuously go back and we're like, look, lady, you don't have anything at your house. I don't know, then we just start to, try to
No, it can be difficult if people are convinced or not to, and it's rare. Basically if people are contacting you or I or anybody else, there clearly something is going on that's bothering them. It may have very normal explanations in environmental factors, psychological factors, or it could be psychic based. It really just depends.
I think the hardest ones to deal with are the ones where it's kind of a combination of, maybe there is some kind of like mental issues going on. Maybe they're taking some medications. Maybe they do have some activity. But it's like being exacerbated by
Yeah,
whatever.
it can be difficult to sort some of those things out.
Yeah. So it can be a sticky situation, but we do try to really vet our clients. And, like I said, we always go in with a plan and like a pre-sense of what already is happening at this place. And then we ask the clients for the validation, okay, are you experiencing this, this, and this? Yes, perfect. Then we know that we're on the right track, and we make the plan, we go in, we remove it. And then after that, we call it client care, aftercare. It's like,
That's super
basically,
important. That's right. That's super
right.
important, which is
And
where
just,
some of the normal paranormal groups have failed, right?
yes.
It's not
yes.
about client care, client resolution. Yeah.
Right. So we just kind of, give them tips and tricks on how to, again, keep themselves grounded, keep their own space clear, and reduce the fear level, because and I tell people constantly, it's like, if you're scared, you're going to make it worse.